Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into the wild world of Genesis 16. Hold on to your seats because this chapter feels like one of those reality shows complete with a off-the-rails three-way relationship. We're talking about Abram, Hagar, Sarai, and their weapons-grade biblical drama. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give that notification bell a ring so you won't miss out on the fun biblical analysis that we do here. So without any further ado, let's get started with a reading of Genesis 16 from the New International Version. Hey there folks.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. But she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go, sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her." Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So, after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai his wife took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me. Your slave is in your hands," Abram said. "Do with her whatever you think best." Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now pregnant and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility toward all his brothers." She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. "You are the God who sees me," for she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." That is why the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. It is still there, between Kadesh and Bird. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. This concludes the reading.
So picture this. You've got our main characters, Sarai and Abraham, the original power couple from the Bible. But there's a catch. Sarai is barren and can't have children. It's like the biblical version of The Bachelor, and the stakes are high because, continuing the family line is kind of a big deal back then. So Sarai does what any modern TV star would do. She proposes a crazy idea to her husband Abram. She's like, "Hey, why don't you go get freaky with my Egyptian maidservant, Hagar? Maybe she can pop out a kid for us." Yep, you heard that right. We've got a love triangle brewing, and it's more complicated than an episode of Love Island. So Hagar goes from being Sarai's maid to being a surrogate baby mama. Talk about a promotion. It's like when your intern suddenly becomes the boss because the boss can't get their act together. But of course, things get messy. Hagar gets pregnant, and suddenly there's some major tension in this love triangle. Hagar starts giving Sarai attitude like, something from Real Housewives. Sarai's like, "Girl, you need to chill." But seriously, can you really blame Hagar? She went from being the help to having Abram's baby. That's like going from an extra to the leading role in a soap opera overnight. So Sarai, who's probably been watching a bit too much of the Jersey Shore, has a meltdown. She can't handle the drama and starts treating Hagar so badly that Hagar runs away. It's like the ultimate Survivor blindside here. But there's a twist. An angel of the Lord shows up and tells Hagar to go back to Sarai and submit to her. It's like divine intervention, straight out of the TLC reality show. Hagar agrees and goes back, ready to play the role of the dutiful servant. But she's also got a secret weapon, a promise from God that her descendants will be numerous. So Hagar goes back up to Sarai, and sure enough, she gives birth to a son named Ishmael. Talk about your plot twist here. It's like when you find out who the real killer is in a murder mystery show. Now, for those that don't realize this, we'll touch on this a little later down the road, and I think it's Genesis 25. Ishmael is kind of thought of as the father of the Islam religion. Just kind of a tie-in there for you. So back to Genesis 16 here. Now, Sarai and Abram are parents, and this whole situation is a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode. Fast forward a bit, and the drama intensifies. Sarai and Hagar are still at odds, and Sarai is not too thrilled about Ishmael being around. She's like, get that kid out of here. So, Abram is caught up in the middle of this epic feud, and he tells Sarai to do whatever she thinks is best. It's like an episode of Maury Povich, and there needs to be a DNA test to figure out who the real baby daddy is here. So Sarai sends Hagar and Ishmael packing, and they end up in the wilderness. Things are looking pretty bleak for them, but God steps in again, providing them with water and a promise that Ishmael will become the father of a great nation. It's like a Survivor contestant getting a second chance on another deserted island. And there you have it, folks. The wild, dramatic story of Genesis 16. It's like the Bible meets the Real Housewives with a dash of Survivor thrown in for good measure. The chapter is proof that reality TV drama isn't anything new. It's been around for thousands of years. So what can we learn from all this? Well, maybe it's a lesson of how jealousy and competition can tear a relationship apart, even in the most unconventional circumstances. But it's also a reminder that even in the midst of our messiest moments, God can still provide hope and a way forward. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below with your thoughts on this biblical reality TV drama. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss out on more modern and comedic Bible analysis. Until next time, stay dramatic. So picture this. You've got our main characters, Sarai and Abraham, the original